Welcome back, everyone. This is the finale for the top 13 darkest and scariest Thomas adaptations. This has truly been a successful series, and it's taken off quite well since the first episode. But I've kept you waiting enough, and it's truly been a daunting task trying to rank everything from 13 all the way down to 1. So without further ado, this is the top 13 darkest and scariest Thomas adaptations. Oliver's Find, directed by Arlsberg West Productions. Why is this ranked so low on this list? Well, because the story already exists. It's an original model series episode which stars Oliver finding an old rundown station on his first time running out with the mail train. The only thing that's really changed in this story is when you get to the third act, where he finds the rundown station and some spooky incidents ensue. Overall, I found it an interesting take on the original story, but it wasn't entirely original. Still, I enjoyed it very much so, and I think you will too. The Stories of Sodor Ghost. I've been watching Victor's series since it first started, and I still am. Right now I'm awaiting season 7. This was the first episode I've watched from him, and it hooked me into the scary Thomas adaptations. However, times change, and so do opinions, and I saw quite a few flaws in it, but I still hold a soft spot for it because, well, it is nostalgic now. I can't believe it's already been 7 years since I first started watching it. On top of that, the story keeps me on edge, and it's very well written, and the dialogue is very interesting, and the spookier moments of it can certainly catch you off guard at times. So that's why it's number 12 here. Caledonian Twins. This has a great story and great voice acting. However, the narration was a bit stale sounding, and the visuals were a bit too bright in some scenes. Still, it's a great story and adaptation with some minor flaws. It's not necessarily scary, but it sure is dark, especially with the character development we get from the Scottish twins, how they're quite angry and bullish and fierce. You fuck with them, they're gonna fuck with you harder. That sounds really messed up, but it's the truth, and that's the subject matter that goes on within this adaptation, and it was truly an interesting take on these two characters. It's still, the narration could use a little work. It wasn't exactly too enthusiastic sounding. The voice acting was great, and the visuals sometimes were a bit too bright, but I still overall enjoyed this adaptation. It's a very interesting one. It was directed by Casper B12. I think you'll like it too. At number 10, we have the Kildane Experiment, adapted by Mickey Fan 1909. This is truly creepy and well narrated and voice acted story. However, what threw me off in some of it was the fog effects. They were a bit too overwhelming at times. Still, the idea of a Frankenstein-like creation put together with the body parts of multiple sentient engines that were already scrapped just to suffer in eternal pain due to one man's arrogance to try and build a powerful steam locomotive, it's truly a tragic tale. Especially the face we get to see on this homunculus-like zombified creation that haunts the scrapyard. It is a really good adaptation. However, there was just some effects that didn't necessarily show the graphic detail of it, and I found myself having to brighten a couple scenes so everybody and my viewers could see all the amazing detail we were missing out on. Still, I thoroughly enjoyed this adaptation, and it's up there as one of the best. Coming in at number 9, we have James's Discovery. NWR 1991 directed and narrated this one. Again, this suffers from the same issues as the Kildane Experiment with the fog effects. That and NWR's voice comes in blaringly loud at times, but the story is still a mysterious and strange one, making the Fat Controller, look kind of sus. Also, the fact that James, while making a drop-off at an old rundown station, comes across the corpse of a tank engine that's been left out to die in the middle of a shed. I still thoroughly enjoyed it, though, and there's an interesting cliffhanger at the end, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen it. You're going to have to check out my review, or you want to check out the original itself. All the links to the original videos will be in the description, as well as the creators who made them. But still, I enjoyed this adaptation. However, there were some small things that could use some improvement. At number 8, we have Recaptured by Brendan Productions. I think Brendan Productions might be the most enthusiastic narrator and voice actor I've ever heard. His hype and passion for his content really sells the sad story of Oliver. Oliver literally almost dies by Ari and Bert's hand. It's a thrilling story and a suspenseful one as well. It's definitely a good watch. The music is good, the visuals are good. However, the pacing has some problems, and it seems like Brendan keeps jumping back and forth between voice acting, character, voice acting, narration, character, and it's really, really quick and too paced out about. He's actually chimed in on my comment section, and he's said that the pacing was done like that because he's afraid people will kind of ignore and get distracted by how long the dialogue might be. In all honesty, I would take long dialogue over, fast-paced action, really. But I absolutely love his voice and his narration and enthusiasm for it, and this is a really good watch. At number 7, we have The Half Engine. This is done and adapted by the Bogey Boy. Bogey Boy is one of the newer Thomas creators, and he puts out some high-quality shit. The Half Engines is like a classic supernatural movie from the 80s. The voice actors are good, but sometimes a bit strange in their delivery of some lines. But it's a thrilling and beautifully shot video, and it really immerses you into this atmosphere very well. And that when the final act comes around and we see the haunting of the Half Engine alone and what she's capable of in her backstory, it's truly a thrilling and frightening watch, and it could catch you off guard at times. Still, there's some flaws with it, which is why it ranks as number 7. Coming in at number 6, it's The Carelessness of Johnny, adapted by Shunter Productions. This is a classic case of fuck around and find out. Someone who engages in selfish and reckless behavior, putting themselves in harm's way or putting others in harm's way. Even though, despite warnings and advice from others, ends up learning the hard way. The story is awesome and sad at the same time, and the voice actors do a good job selling each scene. And it's truly a tragic and sad tale that makes you feel bummed out at the end of it. And you truly feel bad for Duck, who's the engine that really takes it the hardest in this way, learning about the death of the poor young signalman named Johnny. But he died by his own hand due to some reckless behavior. And it's truly a sad and tragic tale, and it's very grounded in reality. And I think a lot of people will enjoy it. At number 5, it's The Wandering Coach. More specifically, Sudrian Steamer's adaptation of The Wandering Coach. This is probably 22 Tesla's most famous and adapted story. The story of treating coaches and rolling stock with respect and dignity, no matter how they look, and a rude engine's comeuppance after being that way towards the rolling stock. It's a thrilling story and adventure with a life lesson to be learned, to treat others with respect, no matter what. And it's really an engaging and mysterious story with that little supernatural element that we all know and love and just get hooked into it. That's why this one's number 5 here. We're in the top 5. Let's continue on with the list. At number 4, it's the immersive and mysterious Yellow Engine. This is a really immersive story by Renee's Productions, who also wrote it as well. And I don't really know where it qualifies. Is it supernatural? Is it a horror? I don't really know. It's just very mysterious and kind of creepy at the same time. It's like a category of its own with this mysterious engine that doesn't speak a word of English, and he has a strange behavior. It's truly a mystery and keeps you enamored with it. And it really shows the creative thinking that goes into some of these stories. I think what Reneus wrote here and adapted here is one of the greatest things ever. That and the graphics and everything is so visually pleasurable. It's immersive. It's very stimulating to the eye. That's why it's number 4 here. At number 3, it's A Spirited Journey, adapted by the German of Sodor. This is an extremely dark and supernatural story that starts out as mundane as ever, only to catch you by surprise when it truly hits the fan. The German of Sodor is a great director when it comes to certain music cues and suspenseful moments, and the story by Richard Jordan truly breaks boundaries for how far we can go in making a dark and frightening Thomas adaptation. And not only that, this was really tragic as well, and also a bit grounded in reality because, there are cruel people and definitely some mentally insane people in this world that commit some horrifying acts that to us really generates the subject of how evil can be in our minds. And this is why this one is the number 3 spot. I just remember being taken aback by how far this really went. It's an amazing adaptation. Okay, as you guys know, there was both 2 perfect scores for 2 adaptations. These 2 were tied up really good. They're both equally awesome in their own ways. However, what it came down to was creativity in the story. And that's why, for the number 2 spot, it's Out of Sight by Little Westerner Productions. Now, let me go into detail about it, and at the end, I'll explain why it became the number 2 spot. This Thomas adaptation had it all: an engaging script, an immersive and colorful atmosphere, interesting history and character building, and a truly frightening conclusion. However, it's a Thomas story. The characters are all well-known ones that aren't typically, and some that aren't typically used, mind you. It's a bit different, but in terms of creativity, it's excellent, but the characters aren't that new. That was my honest observation and opinion about it, why it didn't take the number 1. But I still believe it is an awesome and amazingly unique adaptation using the same characters we all know and love, and it's truly a thrilling and frightening experience with a story that keeps you engaged and immersed into the illusion. And that's why I ranked it as number 2. The thing is, it was creativity-wise. There's no new characters here. And there's nobody new, except maybe the lady that has no fucking eyes and completely scared the apple juice piss out of me, but there's no new characters. Still, Little Westerner Productions, you have enthralled me and thrilled me with this absolutely amazing adaptation. Congratulations. And this is what it all came down to. The number 1 spot belongs to Where the Bad Engines Go by Daylight 3. This story is not a Thomas story. Thomas is not only just briefly mentioned, he's completely ignored. There is no original Steam Team characters here. Instead, we get these totally original and thought-up characters by the Forgotten Engine, and it's told from human's perspective, someone who's reminiscing on his passion that he had for steam locomotives as a child with his grandfather. Something that isn't really done too much in these adaptations. We get these unique human scenes using Gary's mod of all things, and it has that hominess to it that makes it more engaging and compelling to us. It's dark, it's nostalgic, it's new, it's unique, it's number 1. Congratulations, Daylight 3, The Forgotten Engine, and of course, the voice actor and narrator for this special, Mike Studios. Champagne's on me, even though I don't really drink that much. Still, you are 100% deserving of this number 1 spot for presenting us with such an original and unique take on the sentient locomotives of the world of Thomas lore. And this was truly a frightening and terrifying and tragic and engaging, a great revenge story, a great reminiscent story There is so much going on here, and it relates to us Steam fans and rail fans all together. Congratulations on your number one.
Is anyone there? 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 Is anyone there?
Spin Master Mugen.
Play. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Play. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Play. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Play. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Play. Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there?
Spin Master Mugen.